truth is, not that I want you both to be adding to inflation, but what you're charging, you wouldn't believe what people are charging just for like...
I know.
Like a date night, speed dating night or something like that.
Yeah, but that's like...
With one drink?
That's kind of the... Because it's unnecessary. Like, it's... The problem is people like me for forever because it's all middlemen. There's two people... It's the yucks problem has been created everywhere.
Yeah.
Where you have to... There's a promoter who needs to make their money, and there's a bar that needs to make their money. And there's nobody who's willing to just be both those things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's not a Gary willing to be everything. You know, like he's the... Are we live?
We're live whenever.
Okay, yeah. Well, whatever. Just in case this gets put in, Gary from Comedy Bar. There's no one willing to like be like, well, I have this type of space, but also I do a bunch of the shit. You know, like we put it on and whatever, so that both revenue streams are coming in the same place, and it allows you to like, because now again, I could never have brought Bert from Fish Tank in before. You don't even know what those things are. Really.
No.
Yeah. You know, and it's like,
no.
You know, I could never have done that before because of the requirements of where to make the money, and now, you know, so.
I will say, as a compliment to this place, I brought one of my best friends.
Oh, hold on. Let's not record this yet. I forgot I had music on. So
yeah.
Let's do a fresh start. But
let's do a fresh start. Well, we can jump into this with this, and then you can talk about venue. Yeah. Go. No, a compliment as we start. Rob loves arguing today. A compliment to this place is I brought one of my best friends here to check out the open mic that Lewis TV does on Thursdays. And like I've told you before, this is a very, I'm going to go with rock, goth type, aesthetic. Yeah. Even if you want to appeal to many crowds, it's just the aesthetic. It's a catacombs.
We made it look away.
Yeah. My friend, who does not fall into that category, loved the way the place looks.
Sick. Yeah.
He enjoyed it.
It is incredible, like, the feedback on just the vibe of the place.
Yep.
Like, it's nice, and like I've always, that has always been the last thing I was concerned with. The amount of people, like places I've put comedians. The last comedy club I tried to run ended up being in the back of a Hindu chicken restaurant. So
right,
it's like, sure, we have a rear entrance, but it's we can deal with it. So
yeah. Which, again, still one of the business ideas that confused so many people going in. Not yours.
Yeah.
The Indian chicken place.
Yeah.
That called itself a burger place.
It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They were. By the way, that guy, and they're gone now. Zesty Burger. Although there is, I will say, and this is the add-on to what I'm about to say. On the drive to Niagara from Toronto, I did notice at one of the, they're not en route locations, but like service centery, just off the highway, a pretty prominent one as you're getting close to the border, kind of where you used to have to chuck your weed, kind of like off the highway center. There was a place called Zesty Burger there, and I went, did he? Because that guy told me within the first 2 months of being open, he was already going to franchise fairs. Like, he was already pitching it to be a Zesty Burger that doesn't sell burgers franchise.
It also could be a stolen thing. I talked about this on our other podcast, but that same friend who came here, he told me the story of, have you ever been to Desi Burger?
No.
In Little India, there's a place called Desi Burger.
Okay.
Again, do not sell beef burgers.
Okay.
Right? But that's their Desi, most people are Hindu or whatever. We sell other types of burgers, chicken, stuff like that, right?
Sure.
They have been open for a long time. A guy next door opens, separate owner, different guy, not a franchise, opens a Desi Burger, calls it the exact same thing, and sells burgers. If you go into the first one and ask him about the second one, boy, does he get mad real quick.
Sure. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if you see any other Zesty Burgers, they were just like, I'll take that.
I'll try Zesty. Yeah. Well, and it is. Anyways, welcome to Rob Loves Arguing. Anyway, please, I would say please support Zesty Burger, but yeah, I think it's Desi Food Junction now.
Yeah.
I saw pictures of it. It looks nice.
It's nice.
Yeah. They did a good job. I wish no one ill will. I hope they're good.
Well, you can't.
Yeah.
It's completely different people.
Yes, absolutely.
I never understood that when there's like, oh, I used to work for this place or I used to own this place. Now it's a different place and you're mad at those people. It's like they have nothing to do with.
They literally are just paying a lease. Yeah. Who they probably defaulted on. That place didn't even make it a year. And they were like, man, when you get into like, I will say, and I will get to this episode will be a recap of the first year of the Trump administration. But first, we're going to talk about some Indian burger places. It is wild, man, when you look at like what commercial real estate costs, and there is no in no permanent way. Everyone is so afraid to consider that this might be the new normal. None of these real estate agents are like willing to lower their costs. Like these places just sit empty and they're asking like $16,000 a month for like a dilapidated,
So true.
and they're just sitting empty because they're afraid that if they give a lease for $12,000 a month, they might have to still deal with that in 5 years. But it's like, guys, it's not coming back.
Yeah.
Like, it's time to just deal with it. I don't know I've always been a little confused as to what the benefit for a landlord exactly there is to just leaving something vacant. But there must be some benefit, clearly, because otherwise you would just do something with these places. Like, people do want to start businesses.
Actually, that's a good question. I don't know.
There has to be like an almost 100% write-off to it or something.
Yeah, maybe it's that.
Yeah.
Or maybe for some of them, it's like a hope against hope that something will come along that will pay me more.
Yeah.
But it's like the months you missed, you could have like.
But some of these places, like you just walk by places occasionally in Toronto, and I assume most major cities, any ones that I've lived in, and you see places that you've seen vacant for like a decade. You know, like it's.
I don't know. I watch so much shitty Lifetime movies and stuff like that I assume that place was bought out by a developer, and they've been spending the last 5 years trying to convince the rest of them.
You're not entirely wrong if you really think about it. So over on Portland, which is just sort of
over there,
the street right over there, you can tell there's a stretch of houses that are all boarded up. There was clearly a fire at one point, probably set by the developer. And but there's the one house at the end of these row houses that's fine, and you can tell that they're just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, I have this prime spot in Toronto, which is why you want to knock all the rest of these down. So now there's like 6 houses just vacant and will remain vacant until this person either caves or dies.
Yeah.
And they can build it into a condo that nobody will want, instead of just, I don't know, redoing the 6 houses that are sitting there.
Yeah.
You have 6 fucking townhouses in the city of Toronto. It seems to me it would just be worth.
It's not good enough.
Because, like, realistic, if you think about it, how many units in a building? Like, if you have 6 townhouses, right? So let's say you split those up into duplexes, because that's a pretty easy flip. Mm-hmm. Legally, you could make each one of them triplexes if you wanted to. Let's go ahead and say you make them into triplexes. Let's max this out. So you have 6 houses. You can make them into triplexes pretty easily. Basement, granny suite, main floor, upper floor, right? So that's now 18 doors you have. In the space of 6 row houses, like, how big a condo are you building? That, like, I mean, I got to imagine based on the zoning, maybe 20 stories. You can so let's say you get like what, 12. So yeah, okay, 300. I guess 300 is a lot more than 18, but like, you know, that's probably exaggerating quite a bit. If you get 50 units out of it, is it worth demolishing 18 units to build 50 units? Like, at what point is it just sort of like leave the fucking houses?
Yeah.
Like, how much more can you charge in rent for a house unit on Portland than just another condo being thrown into the fucking, like, the condo market is actually genuinely terrible. We look at apartments all the time. Like, I've been month to month since I moved in. So we're always kind of a little flexible and like taking peeks at shit. And the condos just sit there, man. Nobody wants these fucking things. They're not selling. They're not renting. They just like,
But they keep the rental price at an unreasonable amount.
A bit, but they're coming down. Like at some point, see the condo rentals will come down first because they're owned by private people for the most part. You know, some motherfucker who bought a junior one bedroom on Adelaide, it can't just sit there and go, he's got payments to make, right? He's not just trying to write that off. Very few of them are. You know, the idea of, the real renter is Kennedy. It's not all BlackRock. You know what I mean? Like it's BlackRock was not even BlackRock's wasn't getting into the market unless they could buy your entire house from you or your entire building. They're not going around buying individual condo units. You know what I mean? Like, so, but yeah. So anyways, listen, again, not to harken back to the Bill C60, whatever episode, but if you don't like your apartment right now and you live in Ontario, just chill for a minute, move. And you're going to have to move a lot, but like experience things, listen, you could complain about the fact that probably every year now you will have to move your entire life to another part of your town. And you could look at that negatively, or you could go, I've never lived in Greektown before. You know what I mean? That's fun. Maybe I'll do that for a year. Hey, I know that their weird orange duck hanging in the window looks weird, but maybe it's time to hang out in Chinatown for a bit.
Sure.
I mean, listen,
They're
lot
delicious.
of us, are they good?
Yeah.
I've never had the orange duck from the window thing.
So there's a lot of sugar and barbecue. Like that's what makes it orange.
They're going pretty far to create that.
Yeah.
A lot of people's ability to travel the world is going to disappear in the coming years if you follow kind of the trends that are happening and the split that's happening. But what you're going to want to do instead of traveling the world to get cultured, you're going to want to move apartments every year to a different ethnic, cities are going to become a lot more like Epcot.
Sure.
Remember Epcot Center in Disney World?
Yeah.
So, you went to like little China and you went to little Canada and you went to little whatever.
Yeah.
All major cities are now going to sort of be Epcot centers where you just have all these major enclaves of ethnicities.
Hey, we looked at Paris, China.
You know what I mean? There you go. That's a perfect example. Now, they're going to need the food. I don't know if the Chinese are making baguettes in fake France, China.
You know what? I bet they are because I know a few French pastry shops, you might call them. Mm-hmm. When you look at the people working there and the owners, they're just Chinese places.
I mean, that's
in Toronto.
Yeah. Well, there's not an Italian person left making pizza in the city of Toronto. So
there's a guy by me, but he's the last one.
What's the shop? Give him a plug.
What's he called? I know he's Italian because he's upset, and the first time I walked in, he asked me if I was Italian.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could be Sicilian.
I get Italian, Greek, Persian, Portuguese, those ones. Yeah.
Man, we really get a lot of the same stuff, huh?
Yeah. I turned out real white.
Yeah. All right. Well, that does lead us to
Bravo Pizza.
Bravo Pizza. All right. Shout out to Bravo Pizza for still being Italian. Which is a kind of a perfect segue into, listen, it's the date that we're recording is January 26th, which means we're 6 days past the 1 year mark of one Donald J. Trump's second presidency, second term of his presidency, presumably the last. Stay tuned for that, I suppose, at this point. But so listen. Let me get out right of the gates and just say, for me and a lot of my colleagues who kind of fall into a similar Tim Pool of commentators, the we are responsible thing is going to be coming very quickly. And I suppose the fact that I am making this declaration off the top kind of spoiler alerts to how the first year is going.
Sure.
It is not while you wait for an apology from comedy and we'll say centrist voices in comedy because I refuse to pretend that people I know who are not right wing are right wing. So if we must, I will call them centrist voices in comedy.
Love it.
The Tim Dillons, the Joe Rogans, the Andrew Schultzes, myself, Dave Smiths, things like this. No apology will come for what was interpreted as tacit support, and in some cases to Tony Hinchcliffe's. Maybe you could even argue Schultz to some degree, although I don't know behind closed doors what he really felt. But the tacit support of Donald Trump, I believe culture will be coming around looking for an apology from the podcast bro universe when it comes to how things are going. Obviously, with the ICE engagements, the Greenland nonsense, the Venezuela such, the tariffs not going well. Yes.
No, for sure, because, I mean, you're a big fan of Breaking Points. They kind of got at him for, was it Israel? I forget. They kind of started bringing it up like, hey, and that was at the same time that whatever his name is, brown guy, Sargar or whatever.
Sagar, yeah.
Yeah, he did Schultz's show. And he kind of asked him like, do you regret,
Yeah. And like, listen, you can't, because ultimately there's a couple reasons. And actually, Sagar had a pretty decent segment on it, but I kind of didn't, and he did clarify, and I appreciate that he clarified, but I think if you took his direct quote, it could kind of be used against the Tim Dillons and such. Sure. In a way that he, that we were, oh man, it's going to bother me now that I can't think the exact word, that we were essentially what it made it sound like is that we were being contrarians at the time, that there was a general consensus in one direction, and so therefore it was maybe it was not, the word wasn't provocative, but it was along the lines of we were trying to be provocative.
Yeah.
Because most people didn't support Donald Trump, so then therefore to support it was kind of interesting. Here's the thing. That makes sense from someone who does the news, right? To look outside from his perspective into comedy and make that assessment. What you have to realize about comedy is it's not just that it's provocative, because I feel like that's a bit reductive to what was doing. It's sort of, we only felt that way because nobody else did. But it's not just that, it's actually the job. It's actually the job that no matter what you like, the other team has 51% of the people in the country agreeing with them. And those people are going to exist whether you like it or not. And it is our job to make you understand them, because continuing to go in blind, continuing to make all the same mistakes and make all the same assumptions about people causes you to step on rakes all the time. The Democratic Party is constantly stepping on rakes because it doesn't take the time to actually understand why the people they're opposing feel the way they feel. The amount of people who told me that Donald Trump voters were purely racist and purely whatever, when now the conversation has shifted. It's about tariffs. It's about these things. None of that came up in the first term. Nobody would acknowledge that there was like an economic pressure behind this that maybe has caused all of this. It was just purely their racist, such and such and such and such. This has forced us now to talk about this in a much more nuanced way, that when we are talking about trade deals, we are talking about diplomacy, we are talking about these things when it comes to it, because the truth was, it was a much more serious conversation that those people were trying to have. The amount of Trump supporters I heard in the first term tell me that they lost their job because of NAFTA was way more than I hate brown people and that's why I like them, and like, listen, I'm an edgy comic. These people are not hiding their opinions from me, right? The amount of people who come up to shows and go, oh, you roasted the libtards. And it's like, I'm wearing a Bernie shirt. Like, I'm not, you hear edginess. You hear somebody go, oh, that person has a thought similar to mine. He must then therefore feel everything else that I feel. And we all do this with each other on things. Comedians were not grifting, not all of them, of course, some of them were. They were not just trying to be contrarians. We were trying to point out why these people might have felt a particular way. We are trying to add some sunlight to disinfect things, which is the job. We have to do that, because when you just retreat to your corners, nothing better happens. And I think what the real downfall of all this, and we will go through a couple main categories of things to discuss when it comes to his presidency. But the real downfall of the Donald Trump thing will be any good that could have come out of this Trump presidency has not only not come, it has been set back so many years by the way that things have been implemented. The policies that Trump wanted to put forward or that Trump supporters were actually rooting for are now destroyed. These things are over with, and they won't be able to come back. The word tariffs will be a bad word for decades now, and we needed tariffs. We needed them bad. Immigration policy will be set back so far now. Anything looking like limiting immigration after Trump is out of the White House was going to be maligned immediately. And we can't have that. We can't have things go back to how they were before. Mm-hmm. That's what's so scary about the Mark Carney speech, because the Mark Carney speech was kind of his way of going like, listen, we fucked around. We had fun, but like we knew the line. We knew how far. Chris Rock had this great. I saw Chris Rock once at the Cellar when doing a bit that it never got made to a special. And the bit was essentially about how he understands Republicans because as a rich person, he has to pay everyone around him that works for him just enough to make them not kill him. And it was like, I have a nanny. I have a cook makes my food. Yeah. Now, I don't want to pay them more than I need to, but I got to pay them enough to make them not want to kill me, right? Trump doesn't seem to get what the rest of them, the Carneys, all these other people get. There it goes, we fucked around. We took over countries. We've done this forever. But the way we did it, the decorum, prevented everyone from wanting to kill us.
Right.
If we just did this in a way that kept everybody kind of, it's no big. Yeah, Obama deported more people. You're not going to hear that more than right now. Yes, this is how fucking wild things have gotten. Liberals are now out there going, well, Obama was able to deport way more people. He's not even doing a good job deporting them. This is like an argument that's being made now, and whatever, because everyone kind of quietly understands. Yeah, the immigration thing got a little fucking out of control, and probably it was going to have to be dealt with one way or the other. And you can now, if you're a conservative and you want to argue back, so we'll just handle immigration right off the top because it's the one that everyone's going to want to talk about in the beginning anyways. There's probably an estimated, they're saying about 5 million self-deportations in the first year of Trump's presidency.
Yeah.
He was fiscally responsible in his deportations. Like, if you wanted people deported, listen, 36 people were murdered by ICE agents under Obama. 36 people. They just weren't Americans. What are we really... Now 7 people in just the month of January have been murdered by ICE this year. So the numbers could get worse, but 36 is still 36. It's not like they weren't killing people. They were just killing the people that you didn't make a big deal out of. By the way, did you know that 7 people got killed by ICE this month? Or did you think 2 people got killed by ICE this month because you heard about 2 because 2 of them were Americans?
Yeah, I heard about 2, so I assumed it's 2.
I'm gonna briefly reference a wonderful bit that without doing the entire bit. But Natalie Holloway, that angel. Yeah, as 2 Americans get killed, and all of a sudden...
A bunch of Yodases?
Yes. Yeah, you kill all the Yodases you want. No one's going to give a fuck. But you kill a couple Natalie Holloways, and all of a sudden we're rioting in the streets in Minneapolis. It's like, motherfuckers, ICE been killing people. Yeah. They've been killing people since their inception, which is completely unnecessary inception anyways. ICE was supposed to be to stop 9/11s. That was the point of ICE. ICE got created during the Patriot Act. Like that's where that came from. But listen, this is what's going to happen, and I've talked about this. I think even on our first episode on the reboot of the podcast, is that it's going to be the American divorce, And so if you watch Breaking Points, Christy Nome's comments essentially that were, well, listen, if Minnesota doesn't want our help, then essentially fuck Minnesota. They won't get our help. If you want, this is Megyn Kelly.
Right, yeah.
This is Megyn Kelly that said basically pull all the ice out of Minnesota, and if you want to be an illegal immigrant, you're allowed to go live in Minnesota then. You think that's going to apply to just Minnesota, or do you think that that'll end up being New York State and California and Illinois?
Yeah.
All the sanctuary cities are going to become literal sanctuary cities, and the rest of the places will become illegal to be an immigrant. Like, you won't be allowed, like, hey, if you want to be an illegal immigrant, enjoy Illinois. If you can somehow get there and stay there, you're fine. But you better not visit Indiana for the weekend, because we pull you over in Indiana, your ass is going back to Guatemala.
I'm surprised they don't have something already like that with all the state rights, because famously in Canada, Quebec very much controls their immigration specifically to what they want, which is French-speaking countries. So they don't,
And you can't restrict freedom of movement, right? You can't go, well, they're not allowed in Indiana. Well, they'll be allowed in Indiana.
Yeah.
But if you get pulled over and you're undocumented and you're in Indiana...
Yeah. You can't
might
stop
get
them
sent home.
if they come to Toronto first, and the Quebecers can't stop them from moving there if they're legal.
Yeah. But, once they're citizens, they're allowed to go to Quebec.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, I mean, if you do that, but it's just leading to what ultimately, and again, you're going to find liberals starting to come around to this. This is going to start being a Democratic talking point in the next little bit of, well, fine, you want to live like that? You live like that over there, we'll live like that here, and then we'll see how that goes and whatever. The American divorce, Michael Malice has been talking about this for years. I believe he's I'll give credit to him as kind of the first person to coin it that way. But and again, what happens in a divorce? You kind of see who was right and who was wrong. Maybe both people are okay. They're probably meant they were just two people who weren't meant to be together and they're all right. But in the situation like my dad and my mom, you kind of saw my mom as a fucking loser, right? So, not that you know. Unless you were married to my mom briefly, you could have been. But, well, you missed out. You'll be able to see. So, listen, this will be extrapolated outwards beyond just immigrants. This will be like, you want abortions, you got to live here. You want to be around immigrants, you got to live here. You want to be whatever. You want to be able to carry around a big crazy gun, then you got to live over here. You want to be able to teach your kids that fucking dinosaurs aren't real and whatever, you're going to have to live here. But at the end of the day, we share an army and we invade countries together. And that's sort of our joint hobbies. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever had an uncle that you didn't get along with in a lot of ways or something, or a family member, but you had like one thing, maybe even a friend, where you're like, I don't agree with you on much, but when it's this one particular thing,
alcohol. Yeah.
There you go. You know what I mean?
Good drinking buddy. We don't really agree on that much.
So what that's going to be for the states going forward is we love taking over countries that don't belong to us. So the one thing they will share is that their army will still rape and pillage the world, but it'll be very different between Alabama and California, those two places. And that'll be, listen, again, red states, very fun to visit. I would not want to live in a red state. You vacation in red states. They've got a lot of flavors of nonsense. Ingredients that have been illegal in other places for years are still legal there. They'll just let you swing on a big rope over a pit. You know what I mean? Like, fun that got taken away in not conservative, the opposite, but sort of funly conservative. In a blue state, they're gonna go, that rope over the pit's dangerous, and you could get hurt. We don't really let people use the rope on the pit anymore. In fucking Florida, you better believe that fucking pit and the rope, that's good to go. So you want to bring the family to a nice cheap vacation, you go to Arkansas. But if once you break your leg in Arkansas, you drive on back over to fucking New Mexico, where you might be able to get some reasonable health care.
Sure, yeah. They could have had more states righty. which is really what that abortion-y thing was, right?
Yeah, that's ultimately, this is what I was saying. Roe versus Wade being overturned will eventually end up being the best thing for abortion rights in almost every state. They will eventually cauterize those rules in every state to make it so that the federal government has nothing to do with this anymore. And you can't just run on, ooh, God, that guy's scary and he wants to take your abortions away, or these people are killing every baby in existence, we got to get rid of them. That will be gone. It'll be, oh, you live in New York State, that probably means you like flushing babies down the toilet. Or if you live in fucking Mississippi, you want to bomb people like that. You know, you're going to have every retarded baby that's ever been fucking cream pied. You know, like that's what it's going to be. So like you'll make your choice. And like we've already seen this. California State was offering fucking flights to come be able to have an abortion there.
Yeah.
They were like putting you up in hotels so you could fucking kill a baby. Literally, if you're in Mississippi and you're like, God damn, I just want to see the Hollywood Hills one day. That's all I've ever thought. Just talk to your uncle and say, hey, Unc, you haven't fucked me in 13, 14 years. Why don't you drop one more load in here? I'll get a free flight to California. I can go see the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah. In
between, getting vacuumed or whatever. But at least it's a free trip. When do you get a free fucking trip to California? It's literally opposite birthright. It's no birthright.
Yeah.
They're taking no birthright trips.
What state do you think will? I mean, I guess based on your story you just told, I know the answer. But what state do you think will be latest term abortion?
Yeah, probably Sippy. Yeah, I can see Sippy taking quite a while before.
No. You're saying, I get you. Who fights abortion the longest? Yeah, probably Mississippi. I'm talking about, part of the reason a lot of new conservatives are more mad about abortion is not we disagree with abortion. I'm talking about new conservatives, not the Christian ones.
Yeah, barstool conservatives.
Yeah. They go, yeah, but you guys are going late term, right? What state do you think is going real close to that murder line?
Well, I'm going to go a little off the board from what you'd probably expect.
Yeah.
It's almost without a doubt going to be Alaska. Because I think everyone in Alaska, there's no value of life there. You know what I mean? Like people are there because they committed crimes or they do a very specialized style of work. So there's no real like life is precious. Life is beautiful. We need to exist. If you think that like, if you're pro-life, you're anti-Alaska. Right. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't need to be. So I feel like in Alaska, they'd be like, yo, we don't need another mouth to feed.
Yeah, like, 7-8 months, whatever.
It just literally, if you want to just go bury it in the snow, feel free. There's no, we don't prosecute fetus snow droppings. Right. Truthfully, you could probably just argue in Alaska that the snow was deep enough. You dropped the baby and couldn't find it.
Yeah.
What do you want me to fucking do? It's like that video of the guy who dropped his blunt in the snow, and then he was like, the news like covered it because it was probably AI.
I have to see that.
Yeah, but it was it's just like the fucking baby slipped right out of my hands into a snowdrift. The thing hasn't cried for 3 days. I don't know where the fuck it is.
White baby too? White
snow? Baby as special. Well, that's all they got in Alaska.
Yeah.
I feel like even if you're black in Alaska, if you have the baby comes out white.
Just evolutionary.
Lack of like, you know what I mean? Like, because like melanin still has to, I feel like, somewhat come from... I'm not scientifically, I don't fully understand.
I did some research on why white people are white. It's a lot of fun.
All right.
Right? There's two parts to it.
Did it just say we're better? I'm probably not all white.
There's the sun part, for sure. That's a part of the theory.
Sure.
The other part is food. Certain foods change the amount of nutrients that we... So then you had to be white to extract nutrients or something like that. I don't know. I'm not smart enough for this. But if you look it up, people at home, look up food, white people... Oh, that's just going to bring up jokes. But
so
like,
you're saying, you're saying mayonnaise makes us white.
Something, yeah. I mean, I think it's more of a historical thing. So maybe the drinking of milk, which did not occur a lot in Africa.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Adding milk to our diets.
Because the cows in Africa will kill you.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think they've got regular old cows in Africa that same way. Also, I imagine mayonnaise might be pretty old. Like as a condiment.
Invention? I think so, yeah.
Because it's a pretty basic condiment.
Yeah.
I feel like that we would have got around to mayonnaise pretty early.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I feel like mustard is probably older, but
Well, yeah, because that's a seed.
Yeah.
That's a one ingredient. You're done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, peanut butter. I mean, like that was black people. They invented that. Why do they claim that? It's not true.
I recently heard it's not true. I'm not going to call it either way. I need to do my own research.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you're just like, you guys have done lots of stuff. It just seems like a really weird one to dig their heels into.
Well, I would look at it more
and they
this
have
way.
an extra bone to dig their heel in too.
Yes,
so
correct. Jimmy the Greek. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would say most people, some of them might be full on digging their heels, denying. Again, I don't know if it's true or not. But most people, like if you told me Guyanese French Canadians invented jelly, and then somebody tried to tell me it's not true, I'd probably initially be mad at you, and that's probably what's going on.
I think that's why black people had such a hard time with the Bill Cosby thing. Like, why? Like they weren't really willing to. 'Cause like even my dad is not a racist man at all, but he used to refer to Bill Cosby as one of the good ones. Back in the day. So I just imagine for the black community, it was very difficult to see the man who was accepted as like the sort of first like acceptable black man on television. He was a doctor. He had a family. Like there was nothing like he didn't have a scrapyard. It wasn't dynamite. It wasn't like whatever. It was just like he's a educated, scholarly black man who turns out rapes dozens and dozens of women. That would have been a hard one. I could see why initially black people, the same way they didn't want to take the vaccine, I could see why they'd be like, I don't know, man. You say this about all of us,
I will say I don't think this whole podcast we've ever argued about one thing. In fact, your friend Matt, who comes here, he's like, we need to get people on who will argue with you because I don't really argue with you or whatever.
Yeah.
This may cause an argument.
Okay.
I'm not going to say I don't think he did it, but I'm a mild believer in, I don't know if you've ever heard the theory.
The NBC theory?
Well, I don't know, but
okay.
The theory that the world or the cabal, whatever, they're specifically trying to take down, whoever, trying to take down, to them it's white people, just white people in general, trying to take down famous black people who were going to do something. So there's like the theory that Bill Cosby was going to own some
NBC.
network.
NBC.
Yeah. And it's
Bill
true
Cosby
about Michael.
Apparently tried to buy it in 1992.
So I'm not saying I believe it. I'm not 100% because I do think there were other party rapists like Bill Cosby, but they picked Bill Cosby. So I'm not against that, and we can argue it if you want, but
so here's
not against it.
One of the reasons that I would dispel that one is the the vessel in which it all came out in the first place, and two, even on NBC. Now, and you can actually use this as an argument for yourself, and an argument why people should not be supporting Tina Fey and Amy Poehler is 30 Rock has jokes about Bill Cosby being a rapist in it. If you go back and pay attention, they allude to it multiple times in the history of 30 Rock. They knew. If they knew, other people knew. It was out before.
I did hear about it before Hannibal.
And so, to me, that tells me that doesn't really see, unless they played a real clever little leak game and like, but also, where's Hannibal?
But where's
Hannibal now?
What if Hannibal is secretly white? It's
he's
just a guy in blackface for the last 20 years.
But first of all, Hannibal is white. That's not my point on this. Hannibal's as white as they needed him to be.
Yeah.
It's that he didn't get anything out of the deal. Hannibal disappeared after. Hannibal's objectively not nearly as famous as he was before he attacked Bill Cosby. It did nothing for him.
It's true.
So if
Isn't that weird?
he would have got something out of the deal if he was sent, if he was the assassin, if he was the one sent to fucking pull the trigger, they would have had to cut him a deal.
Unless he was the right person to pick because they knew he wouldn't stay famous from it. So it kind of goes away. We forget about, unless you're a comic, you forget about who told us he was a rapist. We don't remember.
Also, I don't think that Hannibal Buress is Hannibal Buress anymore. I'm pretty sure during Black Lives Matter, he adopted some sort of like silly blacker name.
Oh.
He's like Etun
That's super interesting.
something. He's like, and it might have just been because he got into music. He's a bad alcoholic. Here's the other fun thing I'll say about Hannibal Buress, and this might get me. Let me say this in a way that won't cause legal jeopardy for me. It was an ironic place for the Bill Cosby stuff to come out. Am I inferring enough with that? I've never heard any accusations against Hannibal that made you go in one accusation, oh, that's a bad guy.
Yeah.
But I've heard enough little things to be like, it seems like a nice case is building that maybe that's not a great dude. You know what I mean?
Really?
It's just a lot of...
Is it more Ellen-y stuff? So nothing evil, but like not nice?
He doesn't get rejected well.
Oh.
How's that? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And not that he doesn't take no for an answer.
No.
He just doesn't appreciate no for an answer.
Which used to be a very normal thing at the club. You know, you ask a girl out, she says no, you say bitch,
call
you
her a
got
cunt.
fucking dumb feet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You point out her greatest flaw and you move on. Yeah, that's still sort of his style.
He's still in that.
He's still got a bit of that thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. So,
or if we play into my theory that I only partially believe, is that maybe he's getting Lee Harvey Oswalded.
Yeah. They're trying to. They got to discredit just in case it ever comes out that he. Yeah, maybe. But the sources are very like localized sources.
Yeah.
They're very.
But also get killed. Right?
Yeah, it would be interesting, but like if they shot Hannibal Buress at this point, would it even make the news?
Well, he's getting killed. That's different because they canceled.
Okay.
So yeah, it would it make the news? Absolutely, but not
You
in
think
the way
so?
he would. Not in the way he would want. It would just be like another celebrity tragedy. Who we'll have to tell you about him for 10 minutes because we assume you never knew who he was.
I actually think if Hannibal got killed now, almost certainly the story would be the guy who canceled Bill Cosby was killed.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is his biggest credit now, to his chagrin, I assume.
I'm just saying, I think because of the Rob Reiner thing, who was the one before Rob Reiner? Somebody else. Oh, not got killed, but died in their house. Old man.
Oh, fuck yeah. And his wife...
Yeah,
he did, like his wife died and then
dog died in the closet.
Couldn't tell him to give him his pills anymore. Dustin
yeah.
Hoffman or something?
No, I think Dustin Hoffman is still alive.
He's fine.
He's
it was a one like that.
Is
Robert Duvall?
No, he's the guy who played Lex Luthor in the original Superman. What's his name? Lex Luthor. Gene
Hackman.
Anyway,
Hackman.
Celebrity deaths. So if it happened anytime soon,
Dustin Hoffman, Gene Hackman. Come on.
Anyway, it's not far.
Yeah.
But yeah, if Hannibal Buress died now, and especially was shot after the Rob Reiner shot, it would be more just a linking of what's going on in our society. So that's why they would talk about it.
Yeah.
Meaning, literally anyone. If fucking who was that redhead guy? If Joey bought a few. This is not the redhead guy, but if I was watching a Amy Fisher documentary,
Danny Bonaducci, is that
Danny
what
Bonaducci?
If
Danny Bonaducci got shot today, we would cover it, even though who gives a fuck otherwise?
Yeah. Okay.
And much love to Danny Bonaducci, but who cares?
Yeah.
But we would right now.
I'm not entirely sure Danny Bonaducci's still alive.
He did a lot of steroids, I think.
He's probably fine. He gets dropped in his head a lot. Anyways, is everyone catched up on Trump's first year?
We get sidetracked.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So, okay, the immigration thing. Listen, if you wanted reasonable immigration, this is the worst possible way to achieve that. It's all been through executive order, which means the second there's a Democrat in there, all of it will be undone. The borders will open back up. Everything will flood back in. Everything will be completely undone. If this was just done in a reasonable, measured way that didn't make everybody run around and scream, you could have just continued on a path of having like a reasonable immigration policy. They could have reformed it in their own ways to go, well, because like you do have to, like, I almost hate how far the argument has come because, like, again, I'm not an anti-immigration person. It's just that it got so fucking out of hand. You had to reasonably go, whoa, this is not like the way to do this. Mm-hmm. So you got to figure out a more reasonable way to handle all of this. And now that's kind of fucked. But I kind of don't even like to get that far because immigration is good. And the fact is that, like, why are these people coming here? Well, because a lot of times we have gone over there and fucked where they live up. And like, there has to be certain exceptions for, we just destroyed the place you live. So like, we're going to be a little gracious in allowing you to come in to where we live. Like, there's got to be a bit of that. We can't just go around and like Mark Carney says, even with decorum, you still got to fuck around a little, you know, like we're still going to overthrow a government here or there. We still need Greenland. You know, this deal they got for Greenland, they already had mineral rights in Greenland. We've been allowed to just take minerals from Greenland whenever we wanted. Like, there is no Greenland. Greenland doesn't exist. We're all arguing over a country that has no sovereignty. It makes no choices. It's literally an army base that just has people that live around the army base. Like, if you've ever been to a small town in North America that most of the town is based on there being an army based around it.
Yeah.
That's just Greenland. Like, it exists so that we can fucking scare Russia. Like, that's basically the only industry that's there. So, like, all of that stuff is going to just continue to be no matter what with it. So, like, if we're going to keep fucking around places, we're going to have to occasionally let their people to come in. Why do Haitians have an exemption in America in certain places? Because we fucked up Haiti. Why do Somalians come to Minnesota? And why was there a certain exception for Somali immigrants to come to the Minnesota area? Because we fucked up Somalia in 1992. Like, yeah, you got to kind of go, hey, sorry about all that. You can either get paid by us to stick around and fix the place, or you can come run a fake daycare for some money if you need to, you know, like, because sorry, you got to look after our kids. We killed all yours.
You know what I forgot to mention to you is that part of this whole immigration thing and everything, there's a lot of discussion in the West Indian community because Trump specifically put a short ban or something. I didn't read enough of it on this. You'll tell me.
Sure.
Put a temporary ban on certain countries, being like, we're not going to take your immigrants right now or whatever, right? Or limited or whatever.
Yeah.
He put that ban on every Caribbean West Indian country except two of them. And one of them was the great nation that is Guyana.
What was the other one? Who else got through?
I got to look it up. I don't know. It didn't matter to me because we made the cut. And then to which my dad explained to me, he probably wouldn't like me saying this, but that Guyanese people don't come to countries and get on welfare.
You just
he thinks that of other Caribbean countries.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's not true. I'm sure you guys are just as on welfare as any other population of whatever, but
my dad said so I bet he's right.
Sure, yeah.
Because I love him.
I don't mean to besmirch your dad, but I think if you probably dug into the actual numbers on that might not bear fruit as well as he.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, hey, and we like the Guyanese, but that's kind of, you know, like, so you can come from the country we're not fucking around with. Like, what are Venezuelans? Like, the argument is sort of silly to go, Maduro is so bad, we needed to show up and kidnap him. These people have a ruthless dictator, but also you must stay there. You know, like, what are we really saying? We're going to come run your country? Again, I made this argument again. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe America needs to run one country in every continent, and if you want a safe place to go to, you just go to that one, and that's the country. So everyone, any Venezuelan, and your dad probably wouldn't like this, but any Venezuelan that doesn't feel safe in Venezuela, go to Guyana. Just let that be the thing.
It's a visa ban. So
They can't get.
It could be just travel or.
Did you find the other country?
I'm trying to look. I want to say it was Trinidad.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Got it. Okay. Anyways, yeah, the ICE thing is crazy. I don't know what the. Do I have a solution for ICE that I can pull out of my ass quickly? I'm usually pretty good at this. Listen. Also, if you're, obviously have conservative listeners as well as liberal listeners. If you really want like actual immigration reform, it's just the companies, dog. That's all you got to do. You sue a company or two, and it'll be over. Like it's that simple. Like if they don't have a place to work, listen. I was a quasi-legal citizen in America. I had a visa to live there. I did not have a visa to have a job, right? And those places that hire people like that, like if they were told they couldn't, they would find somebody else. There are people who will do those jobs, and they're not even underpaying the people, is the truth. They hire Venezuelans and shit at the same rate for the same money they're hiring Americans. They don't actually like get a discount on those employees. They just pay them in cash. So if you ding them up, like, yeah, customer service is going to be shittier. You don't have a Venezuelan slave making your food for you anymore. That will get tougher.
Right.
But like, that's all you'd have to do. If you generally want them gone, they'd be gone tomorrow. You just punish the people who employ them. Hotels, golf courses, like construction places. If these people weren't hiring them, they wouldn't be here. Like that's a simple, you don't need to shoot people in the street. Like this is clearly, I think what is finally starting to get clear to people, independents, even like the softer side of the mega coalition, is that this isn't why, as much as I joked, it was a Natalie Holloway situation, why we cared about the Americans. I think what the real eye-opener is for a lot of people is that, well, it can happen to us. That this is a slippery slope that can end up in a lot of different places. And like, at what point do they start asking us for whatever? At what point are there checkpoints for us? At what point do they start rounding up? They started calling everybody a domestic terrorist. That's heavy. That's a heavy thing. Like that is the slippery slope right there coming to fruition. I think everyone's got a clear point now. Like if you're still in support of this, you're kind of lost. Like this isn't. You're not just a Joe Rogan guy. You're not just a Barstool Sports, a Barstool conservative. Like if you're still rooting this shit on at this point, you're pretty well lost. So I don't know. Do we want to give him a grade? How about we grade him on each one of these
first
categories? On immigration in particular.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a low.
He got rid of 5 million people, though. You got to be reasonable to it. Like, as awful as this is, he's actually doing the job in a way, like, fairly effectively in self-deportations.
Yeah, but are we including, let's say it's a out of 10, are we including marketability?
The market, yeah. I would say we're going to do a letter grade.
Oh, okay.
So he certainly doesn't get an A.
Yeah.
I just think you can't put him all the way down to an F because if the stated goal was get rid of illegal immigrants, he has done a pretty effective job of doing that without having to spend the money to round them all up. Now, I will say the problem with the self-deportation is they don't have a strike against them now then. So when the Democrat comes in, all those people can just come right back. The people you've actually deported will have a hard time coming back. They'll just walk right in.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a C-. Seems fair on this.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm not well studied enough on it. I just hear the killed by ICE, those things. So,
and that's a large part of where I'm docking it.
Yep.
Like he really could have had an issue that, like, listen, what got Trump elected? Immigration, in my opinion. I do think that most people got to a point where they realized this is untenable.
Yeah.
And Israel. And he's fucked both of them up. And we'll get on to foreign policy now into that. Israel is what got Donald Trump elected. And the liberals who are looking for an apology for the people who they think were Trump apologists need to look themselves in the mirror on fucking Israel and understand the reason that we couldn't come along The reason we couldn't go Democrat and we couldn't pay lip service to the left is because they wouldn't pay lip service to ending Israel. And did Trump do it? Does Trump get the marks now for Israel? No. But we didn't know that. You don't have a time machine. And if the one party is saying nothing about ending a genocide, you can't in good conscience go that direction. I will defend the choice to pay tacit, not support, but just, I'm not Chicken Little. I'm not going to pretend like Donald Trump is the world falling before it really is. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, if Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or anyone running for the Democrats wouldn't come out and say anything about what was happening in Israel, you can't support them, and you still weren't on the right side of history doing so. You just weren't. You looked at the people in Gaza and said, you're not as important. When you look at this list of things, and I did not do much work, as you can see. I want anyone to be clear. Does he write stuff about this podcast beforehand? I have maybe a whole 14 words written down. But when you look at this list, what are the most important things? Is immigration important? Of course. But I judge my presidents by the pile of dead brown kids left behind. That has been the number one measure of presidents in my lifetime. And in his first term, Trump left the smallest pile of any president in my lifetime. Joe Biden had done a good job, and we're going to expand brown kids out to Ukrainian kids or whatever it is. Joe Biden was doing a good job when he pulled out of Afghanistan. Kudos to that. Mm-hmm. When he pulled out of Afghanistan, I said, Joe Biden is the best president of my lifetime. And then he got involved in Israel and Gaza, and he got involved in Ukraine and Russia, and that ended that. Now, Trump had a chance. Trump went back to being the best president of my lifetime. As much as people don't want to hear that, Obama killed way more people. Obama took away way more civil liberties. Way more of the problems you have today were created by Obama than were created by Donald Trump. Way more than that were created by Bill Clinton. And then a bunch of the other different types of problems were created by George Bush. All of these presidents have created massive problems that you're still dealing with today. Donald Trump actually created the smallest amount of them still at this point. However, Israel was the fucking thing. It was the place that a person like me or Tim Dillon or Dave Smith or Joe Rogan or Theo Vaughn, and we're all equal in importance. We could have pointed at that and gone, I don't care about this other stuff as much as he ended shit in Israel as soon as he had the power to. And he did not. He fumble-fucked around too much. He's been involved in this Iran shit, which we all know what that's secretly about. You don't care about the Iranian protesters. You're not really playing the world's smallest violin for them. You just want Israel to be able to go fuck around there. So you're pretending like squashing a protest in Iran is all of a sudden some shit you care about. You don't care. You just love Israel, and it's all part of the fucking plan. If Trump can, if Iran stays the 12-day war, if that branding stays true and that was 12 days, fucking kudos. Fucking kudos. Good for you if you went in and did the job and got the fuck out and didn't involve us in a quagmire for 20 fucking years that at the behest of Bibi Netanyahu. Good for you. Like, you can give him credit where credit is due. Israel was a major thing. He should have done better, and we could have all pointed to it and gone, hey, I don't like that you shot Renee Good. I don't like that you shot Alex Preddy. I don't like you rounding up immigrants in the street and harassing American citizens. I don't like what's happening. I think you fumbled the tariffs. I don't like everything that's going on with that. Mm-hmm. But there was a genocide going on, and one side wasn't saying anything about it, and this person did something about it. He could have hung his red hat on that and been fine and had a place in history, but he fucked that up. And is he heading us into World War III? I don't know. He's probably not. Our guy probably is. Mark Carney's speech is probably pushing us closer into World War III by dividing us up in this different way. Because now, like, we're literally creating more teams. There's stacks, the BRICS nations, and there's NATO, but now NATO is not going to like involve America anymore or something. However this all ends up, this is a much uglier situation. And again, as nice as fucking Mark Carney's speech was, it was from Davos. It's doubling down on all of the same problems. We can't just go back and revert to the way we were doing things because the guy that wanted to shake stuff up did it in a kind of fucked up way. It can't just go back. Like, this momentum has to carry forward, and it has to come from a new side. Foreign policy, listen, I'm going to give him a C because he hasn't 12 days. You know what? A B. He should have ended Israel sooner, or the Israel-Gaza conflict sooner. He should have stepped in more powerfully. He shouldn't have just reflexively sided with the Israelis, even though what president wasn't going to? Who were we going to? Again, the Democrats said nothing about it. So, as bad as it seems, I'm actually going to give foreign policy a B overall because the Venezuela thing, we don't have boots on the ground. Iran, we don't have boots on the ground. Like, Greenland just got done with diplomacy. He's using tariffs as his weapons. He's not just showing up and taking over countries. So we'll give him a B. Now, domestically, ICE kind of fits into domestic and immigration at the same time. Let's do tariffs and the economy. The economy is not... Again, I don't want to go too hard on it because I'm afraid, again, that this is exactly where we're going to end up with the Davos crowd again. Like, for people who don't understand what I'm saying when I say Davos, there are things that you've probably heard from your conservative friends and family members that you might not fully understand when they say you're going to own nothing and love it. That comes from Davos. That comes like when they talk about the New World Order and they whatever. That comes from the World Economic Forum and where Mark Carney gave that speech. Those people aren't your friends. They are not on your side. We can't just run to their order of things because of whatever. And so when it comes to like the economy, the tariffs are good. They were done very poorly, and I think that's going to hurt tariffs. And so things are not good. Did food prices go down? Did anything? They weren't going to. When you do what he did, there are temporary pains. If he can adjust the flow of globalization. Again, I'm not an anti-globalization guy. Jeffrey Sachs is my favorite economist. I am not against globalization. But there does need to be tariffs to keep an eye on it. If some of these tariffs stay, if he's readjusted the world order a little bit, then I'll give him a fucking A on it. I don't care how expensive your eggs are today. Your eggs were always going to get more expensive. Your eggs were more expensive than when your parents bought them, and they were more expensive than when their parents bought them. The prices on things go up. Did they go up too fast because of COVID? Absolutely. But they're gouging you. That's on them. Like, that actually isn't the government doing something. There is no stepping in and making your fucking eggs cheaper. I know he ran and promised that and whatever.
Yeah.
He's not the first politician to run on something that and not be able to deliver it because it's literally undeliverable. He doesn't control the price of eggs. None of these things would have changed. There is a moment that nobody will point to in this presidency that mattered. When the tariffs came in, what did he Liberation Day. When the stock market tanked, that was a pivotal moment in the American people and the people, the global economy, being able to buy back the stock market. I think I've said this on the show before, and you can look into this. The stock market after the 2008 bailout was leveraged 85% by these Fortune 500 companies, not just Fortune 500 companies, but the people who own the Fortune 500 companies: BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. These three fancy companies that we've all like gotten used to hearing about, right? They owned 85% of the stock market. When the stock market plummeted, that hurt them 85%, and it hurt us 15%. And was that tough for the people who had to take the hit in the fucking chops under the 15% of the stock market? The average person, the 401k pensioner, the whatever, yeah, that sucked. But the fact that 85% came off them, it balanced this out. That when Bernie Sanders talks about the divide between those who have and those who have not, that got closer because Donald Trump tanked the stock market. This is what infuriates me about liberals and Democrats in this, is that they just want everything to be bad. Like, they need to, the stock market's down. I don't have one left-wing friend that matters to. I don't know one person who votes for Kamala Harris or whoever who's going to vote for Pete Buttigieg or whoever the fuck. I don't have one of them in my life that fucking matters to in any way whatsoever. It doesn't affect them, but they will go stump Trump's tank the stock market and whatever. It's good, you fucking idiot. You want it tanked. You don't have any money in it. Like, and whatever money you have in it is so small, it doesn't matter if it tanks. You're losing pennies. They're losing billions. It was good for you. Like, the tariffs to everything. If you understand, this was going to hurt. It was going to hurt. The point was temporary pain. And maybe that's callous to the average person. Maybe Donald Trump gets to sit in an ivory tower and make these decisions that hurt you. But ultimately, they were important and they were good. And they will fix things in a way that will never get recognition. Like, this is the problem with how uneducated and how far gone we are in all of this shit, is that we will never understand how important tanking the stock market was that day. We will never understand how important disentangling the global market in even very small ways will benefit. When a factory comes to your fucking town, that's when you understand. But most of us don't live in that situation. Most of us live in major mega cities that most of my listeners will live in a city that if a new place opened up and 2,000 jobs came, you wouldn't even fucking notice. It wouldn't change a thing for you. If a factory opens in Toronto tomorrow that bring 2,000 new jobs, we don't hear about it. But if those 2,000 jobs go to North Bay or, Windsor just had Amherstburg's going to get a new fucking alcohol plant. I don't even remember who it is. But some alcohol company's opening up a plant in Amherstburg, and that's like 2,000 jobs in Amherstburg just outside of Windsor. Go buy a house in Amherstburg right now. Because you know how much more money it's going to be worth when there's 2,000 more jobs there? You don't realize how much these free trade agreements affected you when it was actual good jobs. Like, yes, making little green army men you can do in China, but like making 89% of pharmaceuticals are made in China. 89% of pharmaceutical drugs are made in China. If you are for 1 second, if you've ever posted on Facebook in some way you thought was serious, China might take Taiwan. China treats the Uyghurs bad. China has 89% of the fucking medicine that saves our goddamn lives. What if China decided to stop making fucking antibacterial pharmaceutical drugs? What if they stopped? What if tomorrow they said, we don't make that for you anymore? What the fuck would we do? Like, I mean, there's a reason why, what's the fella that created why can't I think of his name right now? Not the insulin guy. That was Frederick Banton or whatever. No, Sir Frederick Douglass. Was it Banton that did antiseptic? Like, we need antibacterial pharmaceutical drugs. We need them. People die. That's literally a weapon of mass destruction. China, representing 89% of that, is a weapon of mass destruction. They could destroy us as a country, us as a continent, if they decided to, because of that vulnerability in the supply chain. That's nuts. Remember when there was the hurricane in Puerto Rico? The Trump throw-in paper towels one.
Yeah.
If you had to have a blood transfusion a month after that, you were fucked, because 92% of the IV bags for the entire world are developed in Puerto Rico. One place. 92%. Does that make any fucking sense? Like, aside from one company who makes IV bags and wants to make the largest profit possible, does that make sense for any human being on earth that could happen? that in the same way America could then go to China and go, whatever. Now China would have IV bags in fucking 30 seconds. They actually still do shit. But even listen to what Jared Kushner is saying about redeveloping Gaza. He literally went, they put out all their like redevelopment plans, and they went, well, we can actually get this done in a 2 to 3 year period in the Middle East because they don't have as many regulations and whatever. Now, does part of that mean we don't mind if a building collapses on brown people? Probably. There's a little bit of that in there. We could have Qatari slaves build it. There's probably a little bit of that in there. But it's also just, they get shit done still in places that need it. Like when you really need stuff, you just kind of can get it done, right? So like, could they rebuild Gaza in 3 years? Yeah, they fucking probably could. Could we solve the housing crisis in this country in 2 to 3 years? Yeah, we could. We just don't want to. Like, that's the fact. We just don't fucking want to. There isn't hurdles. There isn't something preventing us. Like, we have the ability to do all of this. We need to reorder shit. There's too many quiet deals. The fucking decorum that Mark Carney wants to brag about and wants to maintain in all these little enclaves is what's fucking it. Fuck your decorum, Mark Carney. We need solutions. We need to understand that what we live in the entire world now is actually at a point where it's kind of a fucking emergency. In the same way it's an emergency to rebuild Gaza for those people. It's an emergency out here. It's an emergency to get fucking housing for these people. It's an emergency to fix Minneapolis and Chicago and New Orleans and Washington, D.C. And by the way, to all the fucking conservatives that want to go, he just said a bunch of blue states. It's the blue places. No, you know why everyone's talking about the decay of blue places? Because the red ones were already fucked. Because you have shit places already that were already destroyed. You're just used to it. You just don't care that your roads collapse and that your education system is garbage. Because some of you have enough money to pay for insulated communities where you can hide from that. And the rest of you are too dumb to fucking do anything about it. Guess who doesn't rise up and do anything about it? People living a welfare day to day trying to survive. You have two systems in America. You have a system that protects you from the fucking awful place that you created. And you have another system of people too involved in the rat race and the survival of the awful place to do anything about it. So you can't go back to that system. And so the lesson to be learned from this first year of the Trump administration is simply this. Don't shit on the ideas. Take a fucking second. When you hear this from me now, if you spent the last 2 or 3 years going, he's been a real Trump apologist. Well, he's really changing his tone now. Don't take it as I'm grifting. Take it as you have to go which way actually is making more sense. That sometimes you have to pivot your fucking ideas. Tariffs are still good. Reasonable immigration is still good. We can't turn our back on that idea now because the messenger has fucked it. The messenger was the only one willing to work outside the system to do anything. And does that mean that he doesn't know the proper way of doing things? That he is just a carnival fucking act? That he is a carny? I mean, he's an actual carny. Mark Carney is not a carny. He's the system. He's the Illuminati. He's the thing. He's the thing. Trump's the carny. He took what you felt you needed. He listened to people. He's a WWE Hall of Famer for a reason. Because he understands what the audience is saying and he turns the volume up on it. But the audience was saying it for a reason. It's not going to change because, oh, the bad guy did it. They're still needing these things. So red states, no. Don't look at blue states and blue cities and go, oh, they're becoming cesspools. You're a fucking cesspool. You're a cesspool. Your place sucks. Why are those cities so big? Because nobody wants to live where you live. Because you've destroyed it. Because it's not for everybody. And I'm glad you like it. But you probably, if you're being pretty honest with yourself, probably like it because you've set up a real blue state feeling fucking situation for yourself. Sure, you can go shoot your guns and pretend you're a man. or you can have a bunch of babies, and you can not have a job and live at home and be a stay-at-home mom because that's what you want to do. And all the power to you. All your rights to do that. But let's not pretend like you're not in a gated community, that you don't have the guns because you destroyed those other people's lives. Like those other people living in the other half of the place, they don't want to fucking hurt you because they dislike you. They want to hurt you because they need to. Because either they're so far fucking gone in their head from drugs or whatever situation that they don't have health care, they don't have mental health care to take care of these things. That it's a slippery slope. These people aren't like this on day one. They live on the streets for years and they become this way. Or they don't have a fucking job anymore. That the same thing that you're complaining about, that the jobs got shipped over there. You use those the people at the top of the MAGA movement are using the suffering of the people at the bottom of the MAGA movement to make a point. And at some point, the bottom people of both parties are going to realize that that's the divide. And the Trump presidency was the beginning of that. Now we need somebody on the other side. Pay attention to the Ro Khannas. Fuck AOC. Forget all that. Put that aside. Ro Khanna. Or an independent voice. Somebody you don't even know yet. That's where this thing is going to have to come from now. And you're going to hear all the voices that like the independentness and the certain aspects of the Trump thing, the disentangling from this fucking system. They're going to pivot over there. Just the same. Andrew had Bernie back on. Theo had Bernie back on. There's a reason for that. Because it's a solution-based... They're offering solutions. So instead of going back to the Davos crowd, instead of Mark Carney, instead of any of that, let's look for some fucking solutions.